What's up, everybody? Welcome to the first episode of Dylan's Deep Dive. Today we're going to be going through one of the hottest topics through all of football offseason, and that's going to be the tier list ranking of all 32 NFL teams. We're going to have the S tier, Super Bowl contenders, all the way down to the F tier, which is completely rebuilding, fighting for that number one overall pick. Now, real quick before we get into the video, since this is the first video of the channel, I want to say that this channel is going to be all about real sports conversations, no boring ESPN style takes, no just repeating what everyone else is saying. We're going to break down teams, players, storylines, have honest debates about what's actually happening in the sports world and what everyone wants to hear about. I'm a huge sports fan. I still am an athlete. I play lacrosse at Queen's University, and this channel is going to be a place where we talk about the biggest moments, hottest takes, and everything happening across all the different leagues, all the different professional sports and college sports leagues. So if you enjoy sports discussions, rankings, predictions, and maybe, a few controversial opinions here and there, make sure you subscribe, because this is just the beginning of what I hope can be, a fun and enjoyable community and channel. But enough talking. Let's get into that 2026 NFL team tier list. All right, so we're here with the tier maker. For this, we're just going to go in the order that it gave us. We're not going to go from F to S or S to F. We'll just go in the randomly generated order that they gave us. And so to kick this tier off, we're going to start with the Atlanta Falcons. And now the Falcons, this is an interesting team here because of their conference and their division. They could be higher than what their roster talent actually suggests. I don't think there's much of a difference based on if they start Penix or Tua. It looks like Tua is going to be the starter here. I don't think that elevates them that much. I don't think it's that much of a difference between Penix. I'm going to throw them at C tier because they do still have a lot of good weapons on that offense. I mean, Drake London's a dog. Bijan's obviously the 1A, 1B running back, depending on whether you put him or Gibbs. Pitts just got an extension. I think he's still very solid, and with the new offensive coordinator, I think he can have a bit of a resurgence to what we kind of expected him to be like. And so I'm going to throw the Falcons at C here. I think based on their division, they can still win a solid amount of games. I still don't know if I would put them in the playoffs because I think the Panthers will be better. I think even sneaky that the Saints and Bucks could be better. I could see the Falcons still finishing worst, and because of that, I'm actually going to move them down to D tier. The division's kind of a toss-up, but I don't think they'll be very good this year. I don't think the defense is that great, and the offense is kind of limited because of its quarterback play, but I'm hoping that a coaching change can maybe elevate that. But next up, we'll go to the Cardinals here. Cardinals are obviously F tier. They're going to be in contention for the number one overall pick this year. The offense is young and exciting. I could see them being solid in a few years from now, depending on what they do at that quarterback position. But the defense isn't good. But yeah, like I said, the offense is young and exciting. Jeremiah Love, Trey McBride, who's arguably the best tight end in the league, and Marvin Harrison, who hasn't had the start to his career that everyone thought he would, but he's still young, still has a ton of potential. Michael Wilson had a really good year last year. Jacoby Brissett wasn't bad last year by any means, but I think he's still just a bridge quarterback that is going to be there until they find the person that they want to be there for the long term. They're not going to be good. They have an extremely hard schedule. They're in arguably the best division in football. I don't see them winning more than 5 games this year at the max, so they're going to be F tier. They're going to be fighting for that number one overall pick. Next up, we have the Ravens. Now, this is interesting because 1, it depends on the health of this team. 2, they have a new coach now. First year without Jim Harbaugh, so this will be interesting. I'm going to put them at A tier. I'm going to save the S tier for legit top 3 to 5 Super Bowl contenders, and I don't think they're in that tier right now. A lot of this depends on if Lamar can stay healthy for a full season, but we also, if we're going Super Bowl contenders, they fall apart in the playoffs every year, so I don't want to put them in S tier. I just can't do it. They've shown me time and time again that they can't perform in the playoffs. Their offense should be good. They drafted a receiver to help out Lamar this year, but other than that, I think that receiving room is still really weak. Zay Flowers had a better year last year. He had a really good year last year. I think he finished in fantasy football as the wide receiver 6. So, again, they need to stay healthy. The defense needs to be much better than it was last year. But yeah, I don't want to put them in S tier because I think there's a good amount of teams that are still above them, like the Bills. I'm going to put the Bills in S tier. I think they're a Super Bowl contender. Josh Allen coming off of a MVP season. I think they're going to be good. James Cook was an elite running back last year. They bring in DJ Moore to help out Josh Allen. That receiving room is going to be better right away. I know they brought in a rookie receiver as well, Skylar Bell, I believe his name is. So that receiving core gets an automatic upgrade. This offense should be better, even though it was already good last year. Defense needs to step up, but I think they're going to be a Super Bowl contender in the AFC just because of that offense. And Josh Allen is obviously Josh Allen. He's just coming off of an MVP season. However, again, they're kind of one of those teams similar with Baltimore that is a playoff down performer. They play down in the playoffs all the time and lose to teams that they honestly shouldn't. But yeah, I'm going to have them in S tier. I think they're still going to be a Super Bowl contender. Next up, we have the Panthers here. Panthers, I'm going to go B tier with the Panthers. I'm going to go B tier. I think I would like to say they win that division. I would like to say they're better than the Bucks. I would like to say they're better. Well, I would for sure say they're better than the Saints right now. I actually am a believer in Bryce Young. I think he is going to be solid again. I'm not going to say he's going to be a top 10 quarterback, but I think he's going to be good enough to bring them back to the playoffs. That end of the year, last year, they were super promising. I mean, they had a great game versus the Rams in the playoffs and almost upset them. I think they're going to continue to build upon that. The offense should be better. I think they continue to grow. Tet with another year with Bryce Young. I think that running back room should be interesting. Chuba and then Jonathan Brooks hopefully having a healthy season. I think he could be a fantasy sleeper as well. They do lose Rico Dowdle to the Steelers, but I don't think that's going to hit them that hard. So yeah, I'm going to put them B tier. I think they're going to be solid. I think they could potentially win that division again, just because I'm not super high on the rest of them. I mean, they're in the worst division in football. So yeah, I'm going to go B tier. All right, next up here we have my Chicago Bears. I am a Chicago Bears fan, so I'm going to try and do this as unbiased as possible. I'm going to put the Bears in A tier. I think they're better than the Panthers for sure, but I don't think they're there yet for that Super Bowl contender. We'll see year 2 of Ben Johnson, Caleb Williams. I think they take another step. I think Caleb Williams takes another step to an already a pretty solid season. Obviously, the completion percentage has to go up. However, just the raw talent of him is unmatchable, and he is going to continue to build on that he already has. Their offense, I think, takes another step. They lose DJ Moore, but you get year 2 of Luther Burden, year 3 of Rome Odunze. You need both of them to take a step. Rome Odunze needs to stay healthy. You also get year 2 of Colson Loveland, who we already saw what he could do last year, just being a force at that tight end position, looking to jump into top 5, top 3 tight end in the NFL this year. The running back room is still the same. Monangai DeAndre Swift, who they were great last year. Our run game was pretty good. It was among the top 5, I believe. And so the offense, I think, will take another step. The defense is going to be interesting. They have a completely revamped safety room, bringing in the rookie Dylan Thieneman and Kobe Bryant. You're hoping to get Jalen Johnson and Kyler Gordon healthy this year. They bring in Devin Bush at the linebacker position to cover up for Tremaine Edmonds. However, the D-line doesn't really get addressed, and that was their biggest need to begin with. So I think that could potentially hold them back. But the biggest thing that might hold them back from jumping into that S tier or even staying in the A tier is their schedule. They have a super tough schedule this year. Based on the expected wins of the teams in 2026, they have the 6th hardest schedule in the NFL. So that will be kind of a factor that determines how they really do this year. So I'm going to go A tier. Obviously, I don't want to put them in the same tier as the Panthers. I think they're a better football team than the Panthers for sure. But I don't think they're in that S tier yet. I think they're on this kind of same level with Baltimore. And next, we're going to go with the Bengals. This is an interesting one because it all kind of depends on the health of Joe Burrow, which hasn't been great for the past few years. So I'm gonna still put the Bengals in B tier. Their defense is not good. They lose Trey Hendrickson to which was an already bad defense. Joe Burrow will be healthy, hopefully, this year. But I think, that's what a lot of it depends on, is the health of their team. Obviously, their receiving core is loaded with Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. still have a decent running back in Chase Brown. The offense is going to be good. That was never a question. We knew the offense is going to be good. It comes down to the defense and if the team can stay healthy. And if they can, this is an A tier, S tier team. But that's a big if in itself. So we're going to go B tier for the Bengals here. Browns, we're going to go F tier. They lose their best player in Myles Garrett, reigning defensive player of the year. Quarterback situation is interesting. I think Deshaun Watson will most likely get the start. I think he's better than Shedeur. He's better than Dylan Gabriel. But I don't think that he's still going to be, the Deshaun Watson he was with the Texans or anything like that. I don't think this team is very good outside of that. They have some young, promising players, Mason Graham, Carson Schwarzenegger on the defense, and Judkins on the offense, and Harold Fannin as well. I think he's a really good player. But, they're young. They don't have a ton of talent. This is going to be an F-tier team. I don't see them winning too many games this year. There's not too much to say there. Cowboys is interesting. I'm going to put the Cowboys B tier as well. I think the Cowboys are going to be better than they were last year. Again, this offense is going to be good. We know that this offense is going to be good. However, I think the defense is going to be better as well. They go out and trade for Quinnen Williams. They go out and trade for Rashawn Gary, who wasn't great with the Packers the past few years, but is looking for a resurgence in Dallas, and I've heard good things about him through camp. And they go out and draft Caleb Downs, who's obviously a stud. We know that. So I think this is going to be a better Cowboys team. I'm almost tempted to put the Cowboys in A tier here. I think they're better than the Panthers. I'm going to move it down to like this. I think it should go Bengals, Cowboys, Panthers. I don't want to move them to A tier yet, but I do think that there is potential that they end up in this A tier throughout, even halfway through the season. We're saying, okay, this is a top 8 Dallas team. All right, next up here we got the Broncos. This is going to be a S tier. Obviously, the Broncos were one game shy of the Super Bowl last year. If Bo Nix is healthy and plays that game, we could be talking about something entirely different here. And they could have been in that Super Bowl and even won that Super Bowl. This defense is very, very good. This offense is still good. They bring in Jalen Waddle. It's going to elevate that receiving room and that offense to a whole nother level. I think this is a very good Broncos team. I think this is a top 3 team in the football. They're in football. This is an obvious S-tier team. There's not a ton to say there. I'm not super worried about them at all. Next, we have the Lions. I'm going to throw the Lions in A tier. They had a disappointing year last year, finishing 9-8 and the worst in the NFC North, surprisingly, coming off a good year and a good few years with Dan Campbell. Losing Ben Johnson obviously probably hurt them a little bit. Losing Aaron Glenn probably hurt them a little bit, but they're going to bounce back. This is still a good Lions football team. Almost their entire defense was hurt last year. This team's going to bounce back. This is a good football team. This NFC North is going to be extremely good again, extremely difficult again, with all 4 teams being teams that can be good and can even make the playoffs at some point. So I'm going to have them A tier. I think this is honestly interchangeable. They beat the Bears twice last year, so I'll throw them above the Bears just for that. But I think they're A tier. I don't want to put them S tier yet because of last year going 9-8, and they're also going to they'll have a much easier schedule than the Bears because they finished last in the NFC North. So I'm going to put them above, but I think that'll be solid for now. Next, we have the Packers. I'm going to put them A tier as well. We already have 3 NFC North teams in the A tier. The Packers thing is going to be injuries again, kind of similar to the Lions. They lose Micah Parsons, and the reports are coming out that he's not going to come back for longer than they expected. Same with Tucker Kraft. So 2 of their better players are going to be without for almost half the season, for sure with Micah Parsons. I think the first 4 with Tucker Kraft. So this will be an interesting team. If they can string together a set of wins before Micah Parsons comes back, then this is a team that can be in this upper A tier, potentially S tier. It's a good football team. However, they always tend to not perform in the playoffs. Jordan Love hasn't been a great playoff quarterback. They haven't done much. They're a team that finishes the 7th seed almost every single year. They always get super hyped up and then end up kind of down performing. But again, this is still a good football. This is a very good football team, a very good coach in Matt LaFleur. Jordan Love is a good quarterback. The people who are calling after the Bears loss for him to be traded or LaFleur to be fired or things like that, it's not going to happen. They're 2 very good at both of their respective positions. This is going to be a good team. I don't want to put them over the Bears because the Bears knocked them out of the playoffs and beat them in the regular season. But I'll leave it at that for now. Next, we have the Texans. This is gonna be another A-tier team, and I think I'm gonna leave it right there. The defense is arguably the best defense in the NFL. For them, it all comes down to what can their quarterback do. Can C.J. Stroud be the C.J. Stroud he was his rookie year, or is he going to be the C.J. Stroud that he was in the playoffs last year? I think he's the biggest factor for them that could push them into S tier. This is a team that has the tools to be in this S tier category. Their defense is absolutely S tier. Their offense is still good. Their receiving core is still good, with Jaden Higgins looking to take a step as that wide receiver 2 now. Obviously, Nico Collins is a good wide receiver 1. Joe Mixon still being a running back. He'll be healthy this year. It all kind of comes down to, are they going to have good quarterback play? And so I think that's, the X factor for the Texans there. And next up in their division, we have the Colts, who were super hot at the beginning of last year. I'm going to put the Colts... This is interesting. I think I'm going to put the Colts in low B tier. They started off the year as the best team in football for like the first 7-8 games last year. Daniel Jones resurgence to his career, but then he gets hurt and they kind of fall off there. Jonathan Taylor is obviously one of the best running backs in football. He's going to still be great for them when Daniel Jones comes back. I think they're still a good football team. Sauce Gardner will be healthy, who that trade's not looking very good right now for what they sent to the Jets. But again, I'm almost tempted to throw them C tier, but because of how they played when they were healthy, I'm going to keep them in that low B tier. But I don't think they'll make the playoffs. I don't think they'll win the division over the Texans or Jaguars, to be honest. So I'm going to leave them in that B tier. The Jags, I'm also going to throw in A tier. I mean, this is a long A tier right now, but looks like we're getting a lot of the good teams off the bat pretty fast. But the Jags were 12-5 last year. Trevor Lawrence had one of his best years. That offense is good. They lose ETN to the Saints, but I mean they have Bashal Tutin, who I'm sure will be fine. That defense is good. I think the Jags could win that division again. I mean, this is going to be surprisingly from a division that has been historically bad. This is going to be a good division. This is going to be a very solid division, even with the Titans getting a little bit better as well. I think they'll finish last, but they're going to get better. And we have the Chiefs. I'm going to throw the Chiefs in B tier as well, a little bit above the Colts. They're going to be without Mahomes for a good amount of the year. Justin Fields will be their quarterback for a bit as Mahomes is recovering from injury. They lose McDuffie to the Rams, and they draft a cornerback early on. But I think the Chiefs are always going to be a team that, when healthy, is going to be good. It's just going to be, can they stay together without Mahomes for the first half or however many games he's going to miss? Can they keep themselves in playoff contention through that first few games that he's going to miss? If they can't, then, this is going to be a team that we're talking C tier like they kind of were last year. And now we have Raiders. I'm going to go D tier. I think they're going to be better. I think they made a lot of good additions in free agency in the offseason this year. Obviously, they bring in Fernando Mendoza to be what they hope is the new franchise guy for them at the quarterback position. I think Janty's going to have a better year. They bring in a new center in Linderbaum this year. I think that O-line gets revamped a good amount. I think this is going to be a better team. Do I think they're going to be playoff contention? No. Do I think they're going to be, a sleeper team that's going to win 10 games? Probably not. But I do think they're going to be better than F tier. So I don't want to put them F tier because I think they'll be better than that. I think they're honestly kind of on par with the Falcons here. Next up, we have the Chargers. The Chargers, I'm going to go B tier as well, a little bit above the Colts. I'm going to move the Panthers down too. I think the Chargers, they're the Chargers. They're going to be solid. Herbert's always solid, but they are kind of one of those teams that always starts off good and then slows down towards the end of the season happens. I think, they are a little bit healthier this year. Hopefully that they can stay healthy at the running back position with Amari Hampton. Hopefully he doesn't go down. Ladd stays healthy, has a better year. But yeah, I think they bring Khalil Mack back. That the defenses should be solid still, but I mean the O-line is horrendous, and that's the biggest thing to bring up with the Chargers is that offensive line is terrible. Can they protect Justin Herbert this year? If they can, then this could be a better team. But last year, Justin Herbert is running for his life and getting hit a lot. So I'm going to keep them in this B tier. I think that's a good spot for them. I think they can make the playoffs again, but I'm not super confident in them. I don't think I've ever been like super confident in the Chargers. Next, we have the Rams. Rams are S tier. I'm going to put the Rams at number 1. I think the Rams are probably my favorite to win the Super Bowl right now. I mean, you bring in Myles Garrett, you bring in McDuffie. It sucks because if they didn't draft a quarterback at 13 who's not going to play for them this year, like why would you not go draft someone who's going to have an instant impact on your team when you're in a Super Bowl window? I mean, I get it. They want to have a replacement for Stafford when he's gone with Ty Simpson, but I don't love it. I wish they would have taken someone else there because they're in that Super Bowl window. Like right now, this is their year. But still, I mean, the roster talent-wise is the best in football, and it's not close. You have Matt Stafford, reigning MVP. You have Stafford won the MVP. I don't know why I said Josh Allen won the MVP last year. That's my bad. But you have reigning MVP in Matthew Stafford. You have reigning Defensive Player of the Year in Myles Garrett now. You bring in McDuffie. I mean, this is just talent-wise the best team in football, and there's no argument about that. The Dolphins are going to be F tier as well. I don't think they're going to be very good. Malik Willis is going to be fun and exciting to watch. I think he's actually a solid player, but what he's been given is pretty bad. I think their number one wide receiver is either Chris Bell, who they drafted, or Malik Washington, who it's not going to be good there. The defense isn't great either. It's not going to be a good year for them. They have A-Chain, who's going to get, if you can get A-Chain in fantasy, I would recommend you do it because he's going to get a lot of touches this year. Because Malik Willis is going to have not really many other people to throw the ball to. But again, I don't think there's much to say about them. They're not going to be good. They're F tier. Vikings, I'm also going to throw in this B tier as well. I think if their quarterback play is good, they're going to be a very good football team. Their defense is very good. Their offense is very good, aside from what can my quarterback do this year. And so it's most likely going to be Kyler Murray. Can he have a resurgence to his career? Can he be, what the Vikings need? They went 9-8 with not who knows at quarterback the whole last year. It wasn't even J.J. McCarthy for a majority of the year. So I think they're better this year with Kyler at quarterback, and they were 9-8. So I'm going to have them in B tier. I'm going to have them above the Colts, honestly. Not above the Panthers. But yeah, Patriots, we're going to go S tier. They're coming off a Super Bowl. I think that's where they have to be. Drake May has a good year. I think they bring in A.J. Brown. They bring in Romeo Doubs. That offense should be good. They have Travion Henderson back there and Ramondre Stevenson still. We'll see what happens there. But this is going to be a good football team. Their defense is still going to be good. I mean, there's not much to say there either. They're going to be an S-tier football team. Saints are going to be the first team I throw at C-tier. This is going to be an interesting team as well. Tyler Shuck in his second year, I think he takes a step. He looked solid last year. I think he'll be good this year. He has a good receiving core with Olave, and they bring in why am I blanking on his name? Hold on. Jordan Tyson. That's what it is. Didn't need to get there. But they bring in Jordan Tyson. I think this is going to be a good football team. Not a good football team, sorry. I think this is going to be a good offense. It should be a solid offense. But I think they have a chance to win that division just because of how not great it is. But I still think the Panthers win it. I still think the Bucs are better than them. So I'm going to go C tier with that. Giants, I'm also going to go C tier. I think year 2 of Jackson Dart, year 2 of Scatterboo. They're healthy. They should be good. That D-line should be really good. They bring in I'm blanking on all the rookies, man. Arvell Reese. Yes, Arvell Reese they bring in. They still have Abdul Carter in year 2 now. I think this should be a better Giants football team than it was last year, but I still don't they're not going to contend in that division. They still probably finish last in that division. Jets are F tier. Jets are my pick to be last and get the number 1 overall pick. That is not a good football team. However, I think the Jets are on a promising trajectory. They trade some of their players at the highest value and get good value in return. So they have a lot of first-round picks that they're going to be able to use in these next few years. But their roster right now is not good, so they will be fighting for that number 1 overall pick again. Eagles, I'm gonna go like right here. I think the Eagles are still going to be a solid football team. They lose A.J. Brown. They draft Mekhi Lemon. I think they'll be fine there. Saquon Barkley still Jalen Hurts, I think he gets a lot of hate, but he's still a solid quarterback. That defense will still be solid. Again, the Eagles, not much to say at all there. They're still going to be solid. They're an A-tier team. Steelers, Steelers are interesting. I'm going to go B tier, like right around tier. I think the Steelers maybe get to the playoffs. They have Rodgers on what's going to be his last year. It's just there's not a lot of direction for the Steelers right now. I think they're kind of stuck in that middle ground where they're nowhere near contending, but they're also close to rebuilding. So they're not bad enough to get a good pick, but they're not good enough to be even close to contending. So I think they're kind of in this middle ground, which is not always a good spot to be. But the Niners are going to go A tier. I'm going to put them like right here. I think the Niners are going to be a good football team, like they always are. They need to get healthy and keep everyone. They bring in Mike Evans. That receiving core is still going to be solid. They still have McCaffrey. They still have Kittle. Like, the offense is going to be good. This is going to be a good football team, like they always are. Not much to say there either. Seahawks are S tier at number 2. I can't put them lower, unfortunately, just because of how dominant they were last year. However, they do lose a lot in free agency. They lose their safety, Kobe Bryant. They lose Kenneth Walker. This is going to be an interesting team. I have even heard reports that Devon Witherspoon's not really super happy with his contract negotiations either. So this will be an interesting team. Darnold obviously had a great year last year. I think they're still going to be very good, but I could see them falling back a bit to like back here or even like up here. But I'm still going to have them at 2. I still think it's going to be a very good team. The Bucks, I'm going to put at the top of C tier. I just don't trust the Bucks after last year, honestly. They were supposed to be solid. They had a good start to the year, and they just completely fell off. Agbuka should have a good year too, but he, slowed down to the end of the year. Baker also did. I'm hoping Baker has a better year. I like him, but it wasn't a great year for them, so I can't be super high on them. The Titans, I'm going to go F tier as well, but I'm going to go the top of F tier. I still think the Titans are going to be a bad football team, but I think they'll be better. They get Cam Ward some weapons in Carnell Tate and Wandale Robinson, sorry. So they bring him some weapons. They're going to be better. I still don't think they're going to be good. They're going to be an F tier team. Commanders, I'm going to put at the top of C tier. I don't think the Commanders are going to be great. I think their offense, even if Jaden Daniels is healthy, he doesn't have much to work with. He has an old Terry McLaurin who's on the decline, and that's kind of about it. There's not much out. That receiving room is really bad. They drafted a rookie, and I believe the 3rd round, Antonio Wilson, maybe, I believe is his name. But nothing that's going to elevate this offense. JCM was okay last year. He started off hot, and then towards the end of the season just wasn't great. So I'm not high on them. I'm not really high on their defense either. I don't think this is really a good football team. I kind of think that one year was a little bit of a fluke. Even if Jaden Daniels is healthy, I still don't see them beating out the Cowboys or the Eagles. So I think they finished 3rd in their division. But overall, guys, that's going to finish off this tier list. Go in the comments. Let me know, what you feel about this and what changes you would make. So I'm sure there's a few, rankings that you completely disagree with. So let me know down in the comments, who did I rank too high, who did I rank too low. And if you enjoyed the video, make sure to subscribe to the channel. We're just getting started. Leave a comment, and I'll be posting more sports rankings, commentary, predictions, reactions, all of that stuff throughout all the upcoming seasons. So leave a comment and subscribe, guys, to keep watching the videos, and we'll see you in the next one.